I'm Paul Levinson, and this is Light On, Light Through, episode 23, Dummy in the HOV Lane. So, a guy on Long Island, New York, was arrested the other day for driving with a dummy in the HOV lane. HOV, of course, is high occupancy vehicle. Now, is there anyone who's driven in or near an HOV lane who hasn't thought of doing that? Our daughter used to have an oversized penguin, and many's the time we put a straw hat on its head and left it to guard our car in the driver's seat in a mall parking lot. The guy on Long Island had a more lifelike figure, a CPR practice mannequin with a mustache and hair and everything. You can find pictures of it on the web. He's a pretty cool-looking guy, sort of a Mexican bandito type. And this got me wondering, what exactly is the difference for HOV purposes between a lifelike dummy or, say, a very quiet person sitting next to you? Or maybe a sleeping person, or a not very bright person that you might consider a dummy. Let's face it, we've all driven with those kinds of dummies from time to time. Well, I guess the difference is a quiet person could start talking, a sleeper could wake up, and a dullard could say something intelligent every now and then. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, as they say in the South. Actually, I heard that on Joe Scarborough's show a couple of nights ago. And so these are the things that set the quiet person, the sleeper, and the dullard apart from dummies, and makes them, I guess, lawfully countable as a passenger for HOV purposes. All right, so how about a dead person then? I know, a cop would likely pull you over if you had someone dead sitting next to you or slumping next to you anyway. But let's say it wasn't your fault. Could you still be cited for an HOV violation with a dead guy or woman next to you? You know what? I'm not sure, but I have a feeling you would not be. So, what's wrong with a dummy? The alert cop who pulled over the errant Long Island driver said the passenger's head was tilted in a strange way. Stranger than a drunk's? You know what? Maybe the driver has a case against the company that made the mannequin. I thought it was supposed to be lifelike, Your Honor. They never tested the neck. But getting back to drunks, sleepers, idiots, and quiet people, I think maybe the key is that the passenger has to be alive. Yeah, that's probably the key. But is the key then humanly alive? How about a dog, an ape? How about a snake plant? About apes, I also read just the other day that someone discovered a band of chimps making spears. Seriously. Okay, for me, this means that chimps are definitely human enough to count as passengers in HOV lanes. I wouldn't be shocked to learn that chimps are subject to road rage, too. On the other hand, chimps can't really talk, and some dummies can talk. I don't mean people who are dummies, I mean ventriloquist dummies. Long Island man, here, in my humble opinion, is your defense. Bring your dummy to court with you. When it comes time to plead your guilt or innocence, have the dummy make the plea. If the judge can't see your mouth move, you should be found not guilty. Assuming, of course, that the judge is not a dummy.
The Light on Light Through podcast is proud to be part of the Blueberry Network. That's blueberrywithnoease.com.
Hey, if you want to make an impact online, check out GoDaddy dullard-type.com. It has .com names for as low as $1.99. Plus, they have world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and much more. And if you mention the special code POD4, that's POD4, you'll get 10% off your web hosting, or BLU4, that's Blue4, gives you 10% off everything else you may buy at GoDaddy.com. And this brings us to the flashes section of Light On, Light Through. Scientists out at University of California, Davis, have discovered that bacteria can be helpful in making buildings more resistant to earthquakes. Apparently some bacteria, Bacillus pasteurii, when they eat loose sand, they convert it into something very hard and rock-like. Well, good for the bacteria. I'm glad to see the lowly bacterium finally get its due. You know, bacteria have had a bad rep in our culture ever since Louis Pasteur and Paul de Kruif's microbe hunters. They're bad. We have to sterilize environments. And this has always missed another side of the coin of bacteria, in which some bacteria actually help us. For example, we have bacteria that help us digest our food. They live in our stomach. They don't ask for anything. All they ask for is a nice warm place to live. And what they do is they help us digest our food, break down complex foods that we consume so our digestive systems can more easily handle them. This is why, by the way, when we take antibiotics, we often get upset stomachs. Antibiotics are like cops who are swinging their clubs out of control, and they not only hit the bad guys, but they club the good guys. In this case, the poor bacteria. I actually wrote a science fiction novel, The Consciousness Plague. You can find a link for it on my lightonlightthrough.com webpage and also on paullevinson.blogspot.com. And I'll put a link to it in the show notes as well. But in The Consciousness Plague, which was published in 2002, people start losing their memories after there's some kind of flu, but it turns out that the reason they're losing their memories is they're taking a new antibiotic which can cross the blood-brain barrier, and what this winds up doing is killing microorganisms that live in our brains that help us think. Now, of course, I made that part of it up. It's science fiction, but the part I didn't make up are bacteria as partners of human beings in life. Obviously not conscious partners, but they certainly help us. By the way, I also read that bacteria can communicate to each other. They're a lot more sophisticated than we give them credit for. Hey, honey, feel like having a drink tonight? Let's meet over John's throat. Well, who knows exactly what bacteria communicate about, but they are very, very sophisticated, and getting back to their earthquake-resistant properties, this is very good news. Next time you're out in San Francisco, make sure you sneeze near a foundation of a building. You could be helping that building withstand an earthquake. Lost has gone irrevocably downhill, in my opinion. I mean, I guess nothing is definite or final. Next week that could be a great episode. I don't see how Lost can possibly dig itself out of this hole. The episode that was on this past Wednesday was abominable. It conveyed no new information whatsoever. Another useless, meandering flashback. I don't know. It's sad to see what's been happening with this series. And while we're on the subject of television series that were once great, I'm beginning to get concerned about Battlestar Galactica, which, as many of you know, is one of my favorite all-time series. I thought it started out just wonderfully this fall with a series of brilliant episodes. But since the escape from New Caprica, the series has been nosediving itself. It hasn't fallen as far as Lost, but it also needs to begin picking up with the central storyline. And last, did you hear that Borat is not going to be able to make any presentations at the Oscars. Now, this could change. I'm recording this on Saturday night. The Oscars are tomorrow, Sunday night. But last I saw, for some reason, it must violate some principle or rule, the Academy Awards people have said that Sacha Baron Cohen, if he wants to make a presentation at the Oscar ceremony, he has to go up there as himself, not as Borat. Nice. I don't know. I think Borat would have been funnier. Well, by the way, if you listen to this on Saturday night, that is this podcast, I'll be on KNX tomorrow morning at 7:20 a.m. California time, 10:20 a.m. East Coast time. You can do the math if you're anyplace else. Talking about the Oscars. I'll be interviewed by Todd Leitz, who does a great interview. This is part of my weekly interview series on KNX Radio. And it does stream live all over the world. So, if you're in Australia or England, and I know I have some fans there, I even saw somewhere that someone from China is listening to this. Great, I'm delighted about that. You can hear me talk about the Oscars again at 7:20 a.m. on KNX Radio, and the web page is just www.knx1070.com. I'll have a note about this on the show notes as well. Promo. And you know what that is, baby. Our promo suite. First, let me once again thank Patsy Terrell for doing that very sweet light on, light through Blueberry promo, and we're indeed proud to be part of the Blueberry community. And let me tell you that Patsy Terrell is certainly no dummy. She not only has a great voice, she also does a wonderful podcast, Art of Gracious Living. And you can find in the lightonlightthrough.com show notes a nice link to Patsy Terrell's podcast, so do listen. Let me also mention that now it's been over a week since I started PaulLevinson.net over in the Rudius Media Group. We're having a great time. Come on by. You can listen to all of the podcasts, Light On, Light Through, Ask Lev, Levinson News Clips, Words and Music by Paul Levinson. You can read all kinds of blog posts that I write. There's a great message board where we have all kinds of discussions going. You can see me on television and various YouTube clips, the whole enchilada. So come on over there. I'd love to see you. Now, in terms of our promos, once again, we have Mike Thinks, and I have to admit, I didn't get a chance to listen to the show this week because I've been really busy, but I can guarantee it's a great show because it always is. MikeThinks.com. And also, Sean Farrell is now well underway. I think he's up to 7 episodes with his spectacular patio book of The Silk Code, my 1999 award-winning novel, my first novel. It's in very good hands. Take a listen to it. You can find, again in the show notes of lightonlightthrough.com, a link to the either the patiobook.com page where you can subscribe to and listen to the Silk Code patio book, or you can go also to the silkcode.blogspot.com where you can also listen to the patio book. And we got some other really good promos coming up for you as well, so sit back and relax. Listen, I had a great time talking to you today. One thing I know is that none of you out there are dummies. Hey, you know that guy who was pulled over by that Long Island cop? He deserves some kind of award for his ingenuity. You know, this is ridiculous. Where do you draw the line? I mean, a little baby can't drive, so why is it that you can put a little baby next to you or a child next to you, and that satisfies the HOV criterion? The whole thing is ridiculous. In any case, I had a great time talking to you. Sit back, relax, enjoy, and I'll see you next time.
Check out the Mike Thinks podcast, www.mikethinks.com. News and current events with an opinion. The Mike Thinks podcast. It's the news you missed. www.mikethinks.com.
From patiobooks.com. The day started just like any other day. Always does. Until I watched one of my closest friends die. Right in my arms. Nothing I could do. But his death was a beginning, not an end. And now I've been thrust into a timeless conflict of pyromaniac insects and instant mummification. A war within our very genetic makeup. And when the powers of the ancient world collide with modern technology, no one is safe. Not me, and certainly not you. I'm Dr. Phil D'Amato, NYPD Forensics, and the only way to save myself is to solve the mystery of the Silk Code. The Locus Award-winning novel by Paul Levinson comes to life in this free podcast novel. Journey into the ancient world, witness the wonder of ages past, and join Phil D'Amato in the struggle against forces both ruthless and unseen. Visit www.thesilkcode.blogspot.com to learn more about the author and the novel. And subscribe today at patiobooks.com. Join the battle, witness the wonder, or forever be victim to the awe and power of the Silk Code. Phil D'Amato is ready. Are you?
Did you walk out of The Matrix and wonder if you're a battery in a jar? Did you walk out of Daredevil and wonder, what is it like to be a bat? Do you and your friends stay up at night debating good and evil in the Star Wars universe? Does the question of life, the universe, and everything intrigue you? Then open your mind and tune into The Sci-Fi Show, thescifishow.com. And that's Phi with a PH.
Do you remember what he looked like?
Hey, this is Jake. I do a show called Just Not Right, the podcast. You can find it at notrightpodcast.com. It's funny, fresh, entertaining. I mean, sometimes I'll just take the mic and say, hey, oh my, you look nice. You are wonderful. Thank you for listening. You are the best. Check it out. There's a segment called Letters from a Utah Nut. It's hilarious. I know you'll love it.
I'm writing this letter in regards to your giant D sign located in front of your store. I want to climb it.
Please do not climb the sign.
Would it be alright if everyone from our company just started singing?
Although we enjoy our customers' enthusiasm for our product, it is strange and unusual for large parties to join in chorus in our lobby.
Is it okay for me to be using Windex as a cologne?
All SC Johnson products are extensively evaluated for toxicity and safety.
Hilarious!
Do you remember what he looked like?
notrightpodcast.com. See you there.
In a world full of hopelessness and despair, only two guys had the power to deliver the world from certain destruction. Nathan and Carlos are Podcast Pendulum. Watch it all unfold at podcastpendulum.podomatic.com.